There is one truth about success that many of us tend to miss. Talent is often overvalued, and intelligence alone isn't enough. What truly makes the difference between people who reach their goals and those who don't is consistency. Not just the kind of consistency that shows up when things are going well, or when we are excited and the environment feels perfect. I'm talking about the kind that takes effort, the kind you push yourself into, even when every part of you just wants ease and comfort. Today, I want to talk about 5 important ideas that can help you stay consistent even when it's tough. Because when you train yourself to be steady in your actions, you don't just improve your habits, you completely change your life. Motivation doesn't last. It's like a spark, bright and exciting, but it fades quickly. We all know that moment when motivation hits, that burst of energy, that strong urge to start something new. It feels great. But what about when that feeling goes away? What do you do when the early alarm rings and you're no longer feeling that fire? If you depend only on motivation, you'll only take action when it feels easy or fun. Discipline is what really pushes you forward when motivation is gone. Think about top athletes, famous musicians, or successful business leaders. Do you think they feel motivated every single day to do the hard stuff? No, but they keep showing up. They fight through tiredness, doubt, discomfort, and failure. Why? Because they know that true success isn't built on how you feel in one moment. It's built on the things you choose to do again and again over time. The difference between people who make it and those who don't isn't always about natural talent, luck, or intelligence. It's about being willing to keep going even after the excitement wears off. It's about sticking with the routine, trusting the journey, and understanding that the little things you do every day are building your future self. Picture waking up in the morning and not asking yourself if you're in the mood to work, but doing it anyway because you made a promise to yourself. Picture living without being controlled by your emotions or the events around you. Just that small shift in how you think can completely change your future. We live in a world that loves fast results. We want things right away. We look for shortcuts, quick tricks, and easy paths, hoping we won't have to deal with the struggle that comes with discipline. But real success, the kind that matters, doesn't happen overnight. It comes from patience, steady effort, and being willing to do the hard work even when nobody is watching. The stories that move us the most, the ones that inspire us, are rarely about people who had smooth, simple journeys. They're about people who kept going even when everything around them told them to stop. They're about those who picked discipline instead of waiting around for motivation to return. Think of a runner preparing for a long race. On the first few days, motivation is strong, the goal is clear, and the energy is high. But what about day 30, when the runner is sore, the weather is terrible, and the excitement is gone? What helps them keep moving? It's not motivation. It's the promise they made to themselves. It's knowing that reaching the goal doesn't come from one big effort, but from many small steps, taken again and again, even when no one's looking. Discipline is choosing actions based on who you want to be in the future, not how you feel right now. It's knowing that feeling uncomfortable isn't the reason to stop. It's actually a sign you're growing. Any path worth walking will be full of tough moments, times when you feel tired or unsure. But it's in those very moments, when the motivation has disappeared, that your real strength is built. Think back to a time when you felt like quitting something important. Maybe a goal, a project, or a dream. Maybe you told yourself it wasn't meant for you, that it was too difficult, or that your motivation just vanished. But what if you had kept going? What if you had leaned into the discomfort instead of pulling away? What if you had let discipline guide you instead of waiting for the feeling to return? The people we look up to, The ones who seem to achieve amazing things aren't always the most talented or lucky. They're simply the ones who refused to give up. They made a choice to act every single day, not because they always wanted to, but because they knew their decision mattered more than their feelings. Now think about what might happen if you applied that kind of thinking to your life. What if you started showing up every day, not just when you were in the mood, but because you chose to? What could your life look like a year from now if you stopped waiting for inspiration and started depending on your own steady effort? Because at the end of the day, success isn't about how you feel, it's about what you do regularly and reliably. The real question isn't whether you're feeling motivated, it's whether you've decided to stay committed. And that decision, it's completely up to you. We live in a time where speed is admired. We love to watch people who seem to leap forward and achieve greatness overnight. The stories we hear, the articles we read, they make it seem like success happens all at once, like magic. But the truth is, real success, meaningful improvement, and deep mastery never come from one single moment. They grow from small actions, repeated over time. We often believe we can do more in one day than we really can, and at the same time, we don't realize just how much we can accomplish in a year with steady effort. We set huge goals, hoping for immediate change, but when things don't shift quickly, we get discouraged. What if, instead of chasing big moments, we focused on quiet, daily promises to ourselves? Think of a drop of water. On its own, it seems tiny and weak, but over time, even a drop can carve through stone. Small actions might seem invisible at first, but their power adds up. That's how success works, not in a sudden burst, but in regular, steady. Research backs this up. A study from the University of London showed that it usually takes about 66 days to create a new habit. Not 21, not 30, but 66. That means if you start today with something simple, like writing a little each day, reading for a few minutes or taking a short walk, you might not see a big change right away. But if you keep going, those actions grow into something much bigger over time. It's easy to look at other people and feel like we're behind. We compare ourselves to their results and forget about all the unseen effort they put in, the long hours, the boring tasks, the quiet moments when they just kept going because they believed it would pay off. A builder doesn't put up a strong wall in one afternoon. They place one brick, then another, and then another, with focus and care. Over time, that wall becomes something strong, something lasting. The same goes for anything worth achieving. You have to keep showing up today, tomorrow, and the next day. You have to trust that your effort matters, even if no one else sees it yet. Think again about the marathon runner. They don't begin by running the full 26 miles. They start with a short jog. Then they do it again. Their legs hurt, they get tired, but they keep moving, one step at a time. Eventually, what once felt impossible becomes something they can do with confidence. We admire the final product, the finished book, the perfect performance, the successful business. But we don't always see the hours spent in quiet, patient work. The author who wrote draft after draft alone, the musician who repeated the same note until it was perfect, the business owner who made small, careful choices day after day. Uncomfortable. It's not just about natural skill or luck. It's about showing up over and over. The problem is, we expect things to happen fast. If we don't see change right away, we think something's wrong. But real change is more like growing a plant. You water it, you care for it, and for a long time it looks like nothing is happening. Then one day a small leaf appears and everyone sees it. But the real growth started long before that. We all remember times when we wanted something badly, but gave up because it didn't come quickly enough. But what if we had stuck with it? What if we had believed in the power of small, daily effort? What if we focused more on the process and less on the result? The biggest breakthroughs in history didn't happen all of a sudden. Thomas Edison didn't create the light bulb on his first attempt. He failed more than 1,000 times, but he didn't stop. He believed that every small change, every test was getting him closer to success, and in the end, it did. So, the question is, what tiny step can you take today? Not tomorrow, not next week, today. Because today is all we truly have, and today is the best time to begin. Will you decide to write those 200 words? Will you go for that short walk? Will you make that one important call? Will you take that first move toward your dream? It doesn't need to be huge, it just needs to be steady. Because small actions done every day, when repeated over time, lead to amazing results. The kind of results that others might call lucky, the kind of success that seems to come out of nowhere, but really comes from work that nobody saw. And the best part is, you don't have to wait for the perfect time to begin. You only need to start today. Being consistent is not just a habit, it's the base of trust. Trust is one of the most valuable things in relationships, business, and leadership. It isn't handed out easily, and it can't be demanded. It's something you earn through your actions, through showing up, through being dependable, and by staying true to who you say you are. When we aren't consistent, we weaken trust not just with others, but with ourselves. And when we stop trusting ourselves, we start to doubt what we can do, our choices, and what we're really capable of. Think about the time when you made a promise to yourself. Maybe you said you'd get up early to work out. Or you told yourself you'd finally start that project. Or that you'd give more attention to your family. But then, life got in the way. You hit snooze. You pushed that plan aside. You let distractions take over. And in that moment, it didn't feel like a big issue. But something deeper happened. You broke a promise to yourself. Doing that again and again tells your inner mind something damaging. It says your word isn't strong. It says your promises are optional. It says you're not someone who keeps their word. And the worst part? The next time you set a goal, a quiet voice inside will say, "Why try?" You won't stick with it anyway. Now picture the opposite. Imagine that each time you set a goal, you actually followed through. Every time you made a promise, you kept it. Think about the confidence, the belief in yourself you'd build. That's what consistency creates. It builds proof. Proof that you're someone who shows up no matter what, that you're reliable. And that kind of proof forms your identity. When you are steady in your actions, people notice. Not because of huge moves, but because of quiet, steady reliability. Think of the people you trust most in your life. They are not the ones who make big claims and sometimes show up. They are the ones who are always there. The ones who answer your call. The ones who do what they say. They're consistent, and that's why you trust them. The same goes for business. A company that gives quality every single time builds a strong reputation. A leader who listens, who supports, who behaves with honesty builds followers. Because people trust them. But when we act in ways that are unpredictable, doubt starts to grow. We've all seen it. A friend who cancels often, a business that sometimes delivers and sometimes disappoints, a leader who says the right things but never follows up. Being inconsistent causes confusion. And confusion tears down trust. Because trust doesn't grow from amazing moments. It grows from regular actions that prove who you really are. Some people think trust comes from being skilled or the best at what you do. But think about it. Do you trust people because they're perfect? Or because they're always there when you need them? Trust isn't about brilliance. It's about being dependable. It's about showing up even when it's not easy. It's about being present when it matters most, not just when it's simple. This is why being consistent matters so much. It sends a message to the world and to yourself that you're reliable. That when you say something, you mean it. That when you set a goal, you work toward it. That when you hold yourself to a certain standard, you live by it. And here's what's important. Consistency doesn't mean being perfect. It means being persistent. It means choosing to show up again and again, even when you don't feel motivated, even when you're not seeing fast results, even when nobody's around to cheer for you. That's the real challenge. It's simple to stay excited when everything's going well, when progress is obvious, when people are supporting you. But the real question is, can you keep going when there's silence, when the steps feel slow, when you don't know what's coming next? That's where trust is built. That's where self-belief grows. And it all starts with you. If you want others to trust you, start by trusting yourself. Honor the promises you make to yourself. If you say you'll wake up early, get up. If you say you'll be there, show up. If you say you're going to change, take action. Because if you can't believe in yourself, why would anyone else? This is the difference between people who reach big goals and those who don't. It's not about being lucky or gifted, it's about being steady. About staying on course even when no one's watching. About keeping your word even when there's no immediate payoff. About being the kind of person who others, and more importantly you, can count on. Success isn't found in rare, amazing moments. It doesn't belong only to those who are always inspired or naturally talented. Success, in its truest form, belongs to those who keep showing up, day after day, even when the task feels boring, even when nobody notices, even when nobody notices. Success belongs to those who have learned to find peace in repetition. The world loves to talk about sudden wins. The big game victory, the viral video, the fast change, but those are just the surface. Underneath all that is a world of hard, unnoticed effort, repeating the same actions, keeping promises, staying committed. The people we look up to, the ones who achieve great things, they are not chasing thrills. They are focused on growth. And they've made peace with the everyday work it takes. A well-known study on top violin players found that the best performers weren't the most naturally gifted. They weren't the ones who waited for creativity to strike. They were the ones who practiced every single day through tiredness, through doubt, through boredom. They weren't waiting to feel like it. They were driven by discipline. In a world that often says you must be passionate, we can easily think that we should always feel inspired. We look for exciting moments, for quick wins. And when the excitement goes away, we think maybe it's time to quit. But that's where the real challenge begins. That's when true change starts. Ask yourself, can you keep going when it's no longer fun? Can you keep taking those slow, simple steps toward greatness? Think about the top athletes, business leaders, and thinkers. They don't feel amazing every day. They don't have a burst of energy every morning. Most of the time, they repeat the same habits. They follow the same plan. They face the same hard work. But they've learned to love it. Not just the result, but the journey. The path to excellence is full of repetition. The best-selling author writes, even on hard days. The great musician practices the same notes again and again. The strong leader makes the tough calls, even when it's easier to avoid them. Now, think about your own life. When have you grown the most? Was it during a flash of excitement? Or was it because you kept showing up even when it was dull? Real progress doesn't happen during quick highs. It happens in those moments when you choose to keep going. Discipline takes you where motivation can't. If you learn to love the routine parts of your work, your health, your goals, and your relationships, you'll have an edge over others who stop when things get boring. Because the ones who succeed are not always the ones who feel the most inspired. They are the ones who keep going no matter what. So the real question isn't whether you'll feel excited about your work every day. The real question is, are you willing to continue even when it's not exciting? Are you ready to welcome the quiet, steady steps that lead to success? The slow journey, the hidden effort. Mastery isn't found in the loud moments of victory. It lives in the quiet hours of steady practice, in the unnoticed persistence, in the choice to continue when things get tough. It's found in learning to appreciate the dull and the repetitive, because that's where real success is formed. Your mind will always try to find a way out. It will quietly suggest that you're too worn out, that tomorrow is a better time to start, that easing up this once won't make a difference in the bigger picture. But what if I told you that each time you give in, you're not just slowing your progress? You're building the habit of giving up. What if every excuse you allow becomes a small act of self-defeat, a choice that chips away at your strength to keep going the next time things get hard? The truth is, resistance is a sign that you're on the edge of growth. It's the line between where you currently are and where you have the potential to go. It's not your opponent, it's your invitation. Every hard moment, every struggle, every urge to walk away is your chance. It's your moment to decide who you're going to become. Will you be the one who gives in to ease, or will you be the one who gives in to ease? Or will you be the one who fights through it, who keeps moving forward, who grows stronger with each step? We've all felt it, that deep tiredness, that voice in our head telling us we've done enough. And sometimes it's convincing. But when you keep going anyway, when you take one more step, do one more set, stay one more hour, something powerful happens. You show yourself that you can do more than you thought. And that proof adds up. It becomes your evidence, a solid record that you are not controlled by your excuses. Before long, you've created a rock-solid base of discipline. Think back to the times when you changed the most. They weren't easy. They were difficult. They were the moments when you had doubts but kept going anyway. When fear showed up and you didn't run. When quitting sounded good but you kept showing up. Growth doesn't come wrapped in comfort. It comes wrapped in difficulty. Picture an athlete preparing for the biggest competition of their life. Do you think they wake up every day excited and ready? Not always. Do you think they constantly feel motivated to show up and push themselves? Definitely not. But they do it anyway, because they understand the only way to improve is by moving through the discomfort, not around it. A training they do when no one's watching, when the gains are small, when their pain is real. That's what sets them apart from the dreamers who never make progress. Motivation comes and goes. It rises and falls like a wave. If you depend on it, you'll constantly start and stop. But discipline is built in the quiet moments when motivation is gone, and you keep going anyway. That's when you start to shape the kind of person who sticks with it no matter what. And that person, that version of you is powerful. Because once you truly believe, you don't give up. Quitting stops being something you even consider. Visualize yourself 1 year from now. Picture the things you want to do, the way you want to live, the person you want to be. Now ask yourself, what in the way? It's not some impossible mountain. It's not a lack of luck or ability. It's simply the number of times you'll face resistance and choose to push through it rather than let it win. That's the only real difference. And here's the thing. Resistance never truly disappears. It just changes shape. It shows up with new challenges at every new level you reach. Even the most successful, the happiest, the most fulfilled, they deal with it too. The difference is they've learned not to run from it. They welcome it. They see it as a sign they're growing, a signal that they're moving forward. So it's not a question of whether you'll feel resistance. You will. The real question is, what will you do when it shows up? Will you listen to that voice that says, it's okay to stop? Or will you see resistance for what it really is? A doorway to becoming more, a chance to show yourself just how far you can go. Each time you move past it, you build up the strongest part of yourself. You train your thoughts to value your future more than your current comfort. And the more you do that, the easier it becomes. It shifts from being a daily fight to simply how you live. From a constant struggle to a natural rhythm. Until one day, you look at who you've become and realize you're the kind of person who doesn't back down. The kind who welcomes the challenge. The kind who meets resistance and doesn't even flinch. If you truly want to change your life, you don't need to wait for a big opportunity. You don't need to make a dramatic move. What you need is the bravery to show up every single day, especially when you don't want to. You need to force yourself to stay consistent, not just when things feel smooth, but especially when they don't. Choosing discipline over comfort. Repeating small efforts over time. Earning trust through being dependable. Learning to love the boring parts. Breaking through the hard moments. These are the real ingredients of lasting success. So ask yourself, not if you have the ability, but if you have the will. Will you keep showing up? Will you stay in the game when it stops being fun? Will you make yourself consistent enough to see what you're really made of? Because if you do, I promise what you'll be able to accomplish will blow your mind.